Welcome to one-day peer review training seminar. Due to slight reshuffling of the program, we'll be doing the inauguration post the first technical session. So we'll directly start with the first technical session. I request our Chairman of Bangalore branch to escort our first speaker of the day, CA Guruprasad, on the dais. I request the chairman to welcome our speaker with a floral bouquet. CA Guruprasad doesn't need any introduction, but of course, just as a formality, I would like to take the privilege in introducing him. He is a chartered accountant from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, a commerce and a law graduate from Bangalore University. He has also done his advanced management program at IMM Bangalore. He is a qualified insolvency professional registered under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. He is also founding partner of Guru and Jana, Vardhan, a special social responsibility advisory firm, a JV with Rafa USA. He is also founder of Pathway, a SEBI-registered angel investment fund, partner at Avarna and Ananthan, a partner of firm, headed corporate law and accounting function in the firm. And when he qualified initially in 1991 to 1994, he was working with PwC, erstwhile Adlock and Hughes, in their audit and attestation function. He is also the past trustee of IMB Alumni Trust, independent director over 10 companies, member of Peer Review Board, QRB and FRRB. He has authored books called God in Boardroom, Banter Beyond the Buck, and GST, Where Did the Profile Score? He represented India and subcontinent in HLBI Global Tech Group. He is also a board advisor to Vishwakarma University, RV Group of Education. He has written 8 technical guides, peer review manual and DCMM manual on behalf of ICA, and he is trustee of various other NGOs. With this brief introduction, I welcome you to today's program. Here before CA Guruprasad.
Sir, mic baker, sir. If you can come a little further, we can avoid the mic, especially the youngsters in the last bench. Okay, you can recording. Sorry. Slight change. Sir, audible? Yes, sir.
Most difficult job to do a peer review because everybody knows everybody. I got a peer review engagement of somebody whom I looked up growing up. When we started our articleship, we were waiting for that firm to give us articleship, and they gave me a peer review of that. So not very easy, because they will tell engagement letter illa sir nale kodu. Now you have to go by the flow. There is nothing you can do. You can't stick on the fact that this is the peer review. So very difficult and extremely delicate job. Now hold this slide, change the slide deck. So you will find a lot of difficulty. I will have around 30-40 minutes, 45 minutes. I speak on 3 bases. One factor, I am a practitioner myself. So I know the difficulties, how it will happen. Sometimes engagement letter will come in WhatsApp. Sometimes there is no engagement letter. They will tell, okay, fees accepted, start work. So that is from a practitioner's view. I also would like to talk about having the great opportunity to prepare the peer review manual. I was one of the manual preparers, and that time we took interviews of close to 100 chartered accountants. It took me 5.5 months to prepare this manual, from small firms in Bidar to Cuttack to very large firms, multinational firms. We had to interview everybody, and we wrote this manual. And the third, in fact the fourth also, the third, I have an experience of being peer review, because we get peer review done once in 2 years. For listed company audits, being peer review. Fourth, I have experience of doing peer review. So I'll try to get the perspective of all the 4 of them. But before we start, be very sure it's going to be a very tough job from delicacy point of view. It's an easy job from doing point of view. You may get peer review of your boss only. So once today, should we take cognizance that we are members of the institute and stick to the law and tell nothing doing, I'm going to follow this, go to hell? Or should I also maintain relationship there and still maintain my dignity in the profession? I should not compromise on my professional values, my professional ethics, but at the same time I can't put that fellow in trouble also. So there are many instances which could run through that way. I try to do the rationale, the significance, objectives, who is the board, what do you cover. So in the next one day, the other speakers will add up including other points. The basic introduction is you are going to review work of another professional. And in many cases, it will be a firm which is definitely more senior to you. A firm where there are senior partners, where there are many partners, their audit process is very different as opposed to your audit process. And unfortunately, if you look at the entire peer review segment, not many cases have added great value. That is why the revised manual was done. Earlier peer review was almost becoming an exercise. Come here, he knows, I know him, he knows me, he will show some paperwork, I do it. But now things have really changed. When you submit your report, you will know what the peer review board is doing. Recently I submitted one report, they made me revise it 7 times. One report, they made me revise it 7 times. I told the engagement letter has been reviewed. They made me revise that also. What do you mean by review? Please elaborate what do you mean by review. Did you see the date? When did the engagement letter come? Have you seen the email? To that extent, they pushed me in the peer review. Examination and review of systems and procedures of any attest function. So it is mostly going to be restricted only to statutory audit. If they are doing internal audit, accounting, GST, tax, nothing will be done. It's only an attest function. Now the question will come, is valuation and attest function, is certification and attest function? Peer review manual very clearly tells it is only attest of the true and fair view of an audited balance sheet. You are not going to review anything else. And it does not include any matters like conflicts. It is not your job to ask the client, or you are doing accounting also, you are doing auditing also. That is not a part of your job. Your job is restricted to your file. Just take the audit file. Other than the audit file, you don't have any restrictions. But in the new manual, there are some changes. You go outside the audit file. You go outside the audit file, unlike the earlier manual. Earlier manual, peer review manual, the file would come to my office. Many times the peer reviewer, the target company will get the file. I just review the file. Now it has spun into a different training. Now we have got into issues like, what is the training given to employees? What is the training given to articles? Is there a training record maintained? Is there a quality control report maintained? Who is the quality partner? The checklist itself is very elaborate. So the significance is to bring an overall improvement in the system. It has not made a great dent, honestly, because this started many years ago as I can tell. But the last 2 years have been significant improvements. The last 2 years have been very, very significant because the type of peer reviews has been cross. For example, earlier the procedure used to be, I could choose a peer review in the earlier manual. In the current manual, the institute will give me 3 names. We have to choose one out of 3. Second, in case I tell I have a conflict, I have to establish that there is a conflict. You can't tell I am his friend. I got an audit of a firm which was around 60 years old. And I wrote back to the institute telling that, sir, it is not possible for me to do this job because I had gone for articleship in this place, I did not get articleship. The institute told nothing to it. That's not a conflict. So conflict is extremely well defined. So first, the revised manual, these are the 3 books you need to be positively buying from the CA Institute. One is the Statement of Peer Review Revised 2020, the manual and the advisories. The manual is the critical part where it is going to give you all the questionnaires, what you have to do, what are the steps. Be very mindful of the formats. The smallest change in the format institute is not enough. Be very, very mindful of what format the questionnaire gives. Don't even change the format from landscape to portrait. To that extent, be careful because they are trying to scan everything and feed it into the system. And then they are trying to pull it out and do data analytics. So if you change your format, institute is sending it back. If you change the format of the report, institute is sending it back. In fact, to give an example, there was one audit which I was doing, I put a column. My comments. I don't remove this column, this is not required. It is not as per the manual. So stick to the manual extremely specifically. It is available in the Bangalore branch also. Stick to the manual. And these are the editions, the 2003, 2004 and 2014, but substantial difference between 2014 and 2020. 2003 and 2004 were very, very old. For example, there was no data analytics. They were still in the sampling era and doing sampling technique. I'll take the vouchers from April, September, December, last 5 months vouchers I'll take. In that era it was there. But 2020 has gone a little more technology driven. Tech audits were not there those days. This time it has come in. Data audits were not there. Data storage was not there. Virtual audits were not there. So if you look at this in 2014 and 2020, hardly there is comparison. There is a huge difference except the policy of rating. It's almost the same otherwise. Mechanism of choosing peer review, manually chosen by the empanelment of members of the board. So earlier it used to be chosen by the members of the board. The board used to tell, okay, this is the peer review. So somebody will go and tell, sir, I need one peer review, get me a good peer review. Fees is 1 lakh, fees is 1,20,000, so I'll take this peer review. Today it is not that. It's a very robust system considering the experience of the reviewer. So when you get your peer review exam, you have to enroll yourself. That time they'll ask you what are the type of audits you have done. How many listed company audits you have done, how many audits you have signed. Give the list of audits. So they choose based on the experience. So if my firm is a small firm and I'm having 3 people in my firm, I would not be able to get possibly a Ramanjani and company to do audit. I will not get the peer review of that. I could possibly get a smaller firm. So we have to be very clear when we make the peer review application. Earlier, primary consideration was the geography. We used to get only peer review of Bangalore. Even today, they prefer peer review of Bangalore, but now I got a peer review in Gujarat. I got one peer review in Siliguri. So it's agnostic from the geographical point of view, and that is what becomes extremely good because there is an audit trail. He can't come back and tell you, I'll give you engagement letter later. I'll give you the fixed asset register verification we actually have done. That paper is with somebody else. Now he can't do that. Now things are very, very changed. You give me the audit file, you fill the checklist, give me all the annexures, then I'll start work. And sample selection, list of attestation functions obtained by the PU. The board has already got access to list of attestation function. So in case you have 40 audits, 2 audits are risky. So you will not even submit those 2 audits in your list. 38 audits you will put. So out of that 38, the peer reviewer had to choose. Now it's totally different. They take the UDIN. From the UDIN, they download everything, see which are the big audits, what is the UDIN which has got delayed. For example, if you have got a balance sheet where you use the 60-day window period, that's selected from the UDIN. It's a very clear establishment. That is selected for peer review. So UDIN has become extremely important for peer review. And level of automation, they're asking questions like, you did download the entire purchase register. From the purchase register, you downloaded what are the purchases which are done in Saturday, Sunday. You used a VLOOKUP or whatever they do in Excel, I don't know. You show me the working papers for them. So in case you are arrived at a working paper where you downloaded from Tally or Zoho or SAP a purchase register, after that you did a shortlisting and did a sorting or a VLOOKUP or did a macro, did anything and told give me purchases of related parties, give me purchases of X. Earlier we used to just have that X list. Now what the peer reviewer is expected is stage 1, what is it you downloaded? Give me that. Stage 2, what is the sorting you did? Show me that. Stage 3, how did you arrive at this sample? Show me that. Stage 4, is it kept as a part of working papers? Obviously Excel, you can't keep it in an audit file. Is it kept in Excel at least? So we have to establish this audit trail and review procedures predominantly conducted on site. Now review procedures are mostly automated and review procedures soft copies are fully accepted. If I one firm which I did was in St. Mark's Road, I went to their office only once. After that everything was digital, I didn't even go to their office. Should not seek to redefine the scope of the technical and ethical standards specifically to the council. Reviewer should not sit on a judgment. You are not here at any point of time to tell your SQC procedures are not okay. When compared to that firm, this is not okay. At any point, we are only giving a report to the peer review board we are not certifying that it is a good firm. The peer review board will do that. So we are only aiding the peer review board to do this. Reviewer should ensure to maintain enhanced quality of assurance services rendered by the practice unit. We can give guidance. We can tell them this is not okay, next time you should do this. But there is one column in your report C. All the guidances, please document it. How does this help you? He may tell, don't give me this guidance, why do you want to put it, keep it off record. How does it help you is, next time when the peer review is selected, that guidance norms will help you get better peer reviews. And today it's a duty to the alma mater. In my case, whatever money I earn from peer review, I donate it to the CA Guruprasad fund. But having said that, when I started my profession, the money was good. Today, some peer reviews, we almost hit 2 lakh of rupees. It's not a small sum of money, risk is less, the money involved is good, the joy of profession is good. So in case, I got one FRRP, I got one QRP of a Hindustan Liver company, I did the job for 2.5 months. Fees was almost 5.5 lakhs. I not get them even when I do a proper statutory. And here, this was done by a big four, so every day they used to report to me, data was coming smoothly, data was coming properly. So that should be very important. And the job of the peer review is not to identify isolated cases. Suppose you are telling in 20 engagements, the EL has not been, the engagement partner and the QC partner have not reviewed. In one case it is not reviewed, is okay. You find a qualification, make a note of that qualification, just do a general observation of the others. Even though you have picked up this file for peer review, sir, please show me that file. Can I have a look at this? Can I have a look at this? Overall, if you feel he has done reasonably well, then you can as well, considering the judgment of yours, ignore that point. You don't have to consider that point at all. So far, so good.
Yes.
Going fast, going slow. I have for another half an hour, maybe 10 minutes, we'll chat also. So there are 3 stages. Stage 1, planning, selection, reviewer, and initial sample selection. So you need to select which companies you want to review. Just be very cautious in this. Don't select transfer pricing companies because it's only costless. You can't do much. Make sure you select some companies where there are term loans, where there are working capital loans. You can see the drawing power calculation, you can see the consumption working papers. So make sure as far as possible touch the manufacturing companies. That is where you will get to put in AS2, AS4, AS10, deferred tax, everything will come. If you take a transfer pricing company, a software company, there is nothing in it. Take a startup. Startup is something which can be very big. So don't go by the turnover. So these are the big companies, I'll choose the big companies. Don't do that. Take a mixture, take a startup, take a manufacturing company. Don't waste your time in bank audits because there is hardly anything you can do there. It's a structured process. Don't spend too much time on small real estate. I have a property, I'm getting rental. Don't use your time. Pick up a sort of a property development company. At any cost, don't miss a C&DG audit. That is mandatory. C&DG audit, if it is a part of your progress, you have to pick it up. That will happen in planning stage. And execution stage, review of sample files. Always pick up the file which is unassuming. You will not expect that you will pick up this file. Pick up that file which is extremely unassuming. And then you go to the reporting stage. Generally for a firm which has got 4 or 5 partners and which has got 30-40 employees, assume there are 60 audits. Approximately it will take you 7-8 days to do the peer review. 7-8 days work will be there. You can use your article, you can use your manager, of course sign the proper non-disclosure agreements because institute is giving the job to you, not to your firm. So have all of these ways to have a non-disclosure agreement. As per the manual, you can also, you will have to give who is the name, what is his qualification, from how long he is, all that data you have to give. Give that and get a decent team, get a 2-3 people team.
Sir,
Sorry.
can you just repeat the last 2 points which you said? Pick the Azure audit which you
Pick strange cases which he is not expecting. He will not expect a case where suppose the company is incorporated in say November 2022. March 23 he has done the first audit. Or you take 2 months before because the 9 months criteria is there, May 22. March 23 there is hardly any operations. So normally you will not pick it up for audit. Why will you pick it up for audit? Because there is no operations. Try to pick up something like that. Because in such companies you will not get audit procedures. Working papers are not there. They would have just taken the GL dump and done the schedule. So those type of companies you pick one. Pick one which is a startup. Because most startup don't give you confirmation of balances. The data from the portal doesn't flow to the tally. Pick up one startup. Pick up a manufacturing company. Manufacturing is mandate. Don't miss a manufacturing company. Pick up somewhere where there is loans, term loans, working capital loans, drawing over adjustment, stock adjustment. Pick up that one. And pick up CAG. CAG is mandated, pick it up. So in case you do, sorry,
So Bangalore has a lot of fintechs. I think we shouldn't miss fintechs.
we shouldn't miss fintechs. But sir, we are not getting Bangalore cases. Mostly Bangalore is
Yeah, I mean, you have in Mumbai and Ahmedabad as well, fintechs.
yeah. So we are getting cases in Silchar, Siliguri. We are getting cases everywhere. Bangalore is getting reduced actually. The others are getting Bangalore cases.
Yeah.
Sir, what did you mention on the team?
So the team part of it, try to get a team, you will have to sign a form who are the team members who are helping you. Take the approval, there are 3 forms which you have to sign. One is the team qualification composition, a non-disclosure declaration, and that they are with you for this time and they are a part of your team, that they are employee-employee relationship. You don't have a consultant relationship with them. And they have audit experience, you will get a declaration from them. Other than these 3, please don't choose anybody else. Because sometimes they ask you to forward the emails. You have got this data from them, the peer review board is telling, please forward the email. In that email, once it happened to me, one more assistant had included, because workload was very much. They got out. This is not there in the declaration, why did you give this to me? But sorry, I missed it out, I'm sorry. Of course, they didn't penalize anything, but they could observe. So they are not, when you submit it to the peer review board, the board staff will not see the quality of your report. They are seeing procedures. Only the board will see the quality of your report. So both has to be very carefully managed.
Sir, see, when you say team, one has to have an employee relation, as you said.
Yes.
But you cannot have your own partner.
The partner is okay. Partner is okay. But generally 2 partners in one audit, it won't work out. Financially also they have to see, we are commercial people. 2 partners are putting it there, can become very different. And peer review, just as an overview, established in 2000, consists of 12 members, 6 of them are councils, the chairman and vice chairman are appointed within the elected members. From the past 3-4 years, councils is very, very nice because they are all practicing firms. Now if you take the current president who is going to join, somebody like Aniket Talad, he is a fantastic auditor. Now somebody like that in the peer review board can add a lot of value. Somebody like Dayaniva Sharma who was there last year, very good auditor. They are all born auditors. So somebody like that could add a lot of value in the board. And the peer review shall cover technical, ethical, professional compliance. What does it mean? Technical compliance means, is he applied accounting standards correctly? Essays has he applied correctly? What are the working theories? What is the external confirmations? Reliance on external auditors, all that is technical qualification. Second, ethical. Conflict of interest checks of the claim. Related party disclosures. Is ethical component. Suppose when you are doing peer review, you see the books of accounts. In the books of accounts, you have found out that the depreciation he has calculated is wrong. Or let us take a simple example, deferred tax computation is wrong. It is done definitely wrong. Now you will find out that and you tell deferred tax computation is wrong. That is not your job. You are not here to judge his audit report. You are here to judge his process. He is an auditor, he is taking the judgmental call, not you. So there what you tell is, okay, he has taken a deferred tax computation on the following basis. Now in your opinion it's definitely wrong. Bring it in your comments. But that does not mean you have to comment on the balance sheet. You have to comment on whether the procedure he has followed for deferred taxes. You have done a debtor's confirmation and in your opinion you should tell confirmation of balances is a must. There is a standard for that, it is must. But he is telling, I am doing this claim for past 8 years. I know the debtors. I am fully aware. I am comfortable. I am taking a judgmental call that I don't want to do confirmation of balances. It's perfectly fine. But for that process, you should ask him, how are you comfortable? What is the data you have in your hand? Then he will show, last 5 years I have data's analysis, the same data are coming. Out of 100 debtors, 90 debtors are repeating. Same party, subsequent realization has happened. Okay, show me the paperwork for this. Once you see the paperwork, there is no need of you commenting. Confirmation is not needed. That is his judgment. That is not your judgment. So professional compliance means is he complying with the institute standards. UDIN is one professional compliance. SQC is a professional compliance. Engagement partner, review partner is a professional compliance. Whether he is doing that. Next, quality of reporting. When he is sent a audit report, or when he is giving a Caro report, when he is commenting on an emphasis of matter or a qualification, what is this quality? Now again I would like to warn you here, some people would take a soft step. I don't want to push the pedal very hard, I don't want to give a big qualification. I don't want to make a major qualification. That's fine. That is the judgment call he has taken. Now you may have a different judgment. Some clients will tell it was not a soft pedal corona. You don't push the qualification so hard, I will stop getting funding. Then you will change the wordings. You will not make the wording so harsh. You will make it a little more softer. When you make it a little more softer, that is his judgment call. So that is where it comes quality of reporting. But most important, 75% of your time will go in procedures for carrying out assurance services. What is the procedure? Yes, ma'am. That is very vital and that has to be demonstrated in working papers. He may explain 100 things orally. I did GL review. After I did GL review, I wrote down the missing points. The missing points sheet I have got with me. That is irrelevant. What is the evidence that you have done GL review? So for that, we will have to go back and see. Let us just spend 2 minutes on this time. So the client will tell, I did GL review and in the GL review I found out mistakes. In the mistakes I made a sheet. After this I passed post-audit JVs. So these 3 points were not passed post-audit JVs. I felt it is not material, I left it. It's perfect as an audit. But you, what you need to do is, okay, you did GL review. What is the evidence you have GL? Is there an audit trail that you have done GL review? Have you reviewed, which are the items of the GL review you have reviewed? Have you reviewed 100%? Why did you review 100%? Is your risk assessment not okay? Then I tell, I don't do risk assessment. Perfectly okay, that is his way of doing audit. I don't believe in risk assessment, I want to do 100% auditing. I don't believe in risk assessment. That is not a mandatory rule that you have to do risk assessment. Take that into. Then you ask him the question, okay, you don't do risk assessment, is there a process for this? There is no process for me to understand risk assessment, I think in my mind. That is a problem. That is a problem for us. You follow your judgment on what you want, but there is no process, there is no document. That is a peer review point. That can become very big point. Second, then we had a list of items which we arrived in GL. And with this list, I sat with the client and removed 10 items, passed entries for 10 items, and ignored 3 items. So it was not material. Fine, it is not material. How did you determine it is not material? Do you have a working paper for it? Now, his materiality concept may be totally different than yours. That is his set. But do you have a working paper to show how did you determine your materiality? Normally what happens is, sir, you will not. That's a problem. That's definitely a problem, especially in digital world. Because the moment he prepares it, there are 100 tools you can make out when it was prepared. And the institute has got that tool. 100 tools. So what I do in my reports is I am not aware when he has prepared it. When I asked it, he gave it. I am not technically qualified to find out when he prepared this document. I am not an IS auditor. He gave this document to me, I put it in file. I put it in every report. Because every file that you can make out when it was started, when it was closed. You can make out history. And training problems of the staff. They have to maintain a training calendar. How are they giving training? What is the material? Is there a calendar for training? Is there marks given for that? Is there a learning management system? How people are getting notified? So that is very important. And this he has to demonstrate by showing a register or some photos. He will demonstrate. When the peer reviewer came to my office, we told every day we have something called update. Every day we send it. He told, where do you send it? I send it in the WhatsApp group of office. Is there audit trail? I showed him the WhatsApp group for last 1 year. Every day he had one. And he made a note, can you give me a summary of what all topics you provide? I had a sheet. I gave him the summary. Then he told how you train. You have a learning management system, there is a video session. After the video session, they'll have to take a question and answer. After the question and answer, they'll have to pass the exam. If they don't get 80%, they repeat. So do you have it tried? He saw all the parts. Okay, there are 400 people. How come only 100 people have taken LMS? How come the balance have not taken? He told there are tax team, there are audit team. This is the audit team. How many people in audit team have taken? 70 have taken, 30 have not taken. He made a note. 30 have not taken LMS. So we made a note and we commented that 30 people are not being trained. But again, I had to go back to the peer review board and told, look, they are senior chartered accountants, they don't need training. So I had to demonstrate to the peer review board telling that these 30, these are the qualifications of these 30. They already know audit, they don't need to be trained. Sir,
Sir, we have a practice of using practitioners to select as peer reviewers. If I compare this with the system in vogue outside India, you may have a lot of people who are experienced professionals, have worked with larger firms, have then chosen to part ways. They are sufficiently experienced, qualified, and can provide a good pool of resources. Now today in India, because of this system of sticking only to practicing firms, don't you think there is a need to further enhance that base and also consider these trained professionals and enhance the quality?
possible, right? Possible, but some of the institute guidelines are something
Correct.
that only a chartered accountant can do it.
No, person who is a chartered accountant but not a practicing chartered accountant. Instead, he chooses to concentrate on something like a peer review as a profession because of his experience.
You can, in fact, if you see I was seeing one website called True and Fair. Very nice website. True and Fair is a beautiful website. They had also come to Bombay. They are setting up an entire panel of experts only for audit. And I mean, it's similar to CPE credits. Now I go and do a program in Harvard, which is as good as our CA Institute, but I don't get CPE credit for that. I'm doing it in Harvard, but I don't get CPE credit.
Sir, going further with this question.
Sir, explain me this. Continue.
Yes, I'll finish with you. Going further with that question, the independent form mentions clearly people from the practice and people who have been in industry and now switched over to practice as a peer review. But how will they fill the columns where they ask that how many audits you have done and how many things? Because the person who has been in industry and has recently...
That is the column B. In that he has to tell as an industry as he faced audits.
Pardon?
As an industry expert, I am a CFO.
Then you don't need to fill all those.
Then no need to fill, but you have to tell how many times I have signed as a CFO, how many times I participated in the audit committee meetings, that you have to fill. And statistically, industry guys are not getting too many peer reviews. Because they don't know the essays. They know the A's, they know the Ind AS, they don't know essay. That's a little of a problem. And a simple planning stage, you can just go through these slides. I don't want to spend too much time on this, it's a simple slide. Then execution, initial meeting, compliance review, the extent of the review would depend. Already I have covered most of it. And then the reporting stage. Please pay attention here in the reporting stage. Don't change your report. You will get frustrated for everything they send you back. Because there are two types of reviews what happen. One is a clerical review, one is a professional review. Professional review is done by the board. They question you on your technology, telling that what is the process you adopted, how did you select, why did you feel this process is not working. But the clerical review will tell you. It's like a government office. Until this format is changed, change it and send it. In fact, last time I got so irritated, I wrote to the chairman. He's saying, change the font. This is my office font, I can't change it. He's saying, change the font. I didn't change it. But so bugged. And the chairman intervened and told, don't worry, as long as the stick is there, it's okay. Engagement, we had a non-disclosure agreement. Peer review board has given their own format of NDA. The practice unit had their own format. So I signed the practice unit's format. Institute didn't have it. Then I had to again fight. The practice unit is asking, it is a contract between me and him. He is paying me the fees. Even though the institute is coordinating everything. He is my person who is, I am the receiver, he is the giver. So I have to go by his format. And finally they agreed. Any disciplinary action pending against you, please don't you are not eligible for this thing. Now here you need to know a notice come to you is not disciplinary action. You replying is not disciplinary action. After you reply, they start proceedings. That is a disciplinary action. In today's world, anybody who has signed a stock statement is getting a notice. So please don't get worried on that. Thousands of notices have gone in the last 2 years. Maybe 20,000 notices have gone in the last 2 years. So that doesn't mean you are not eligible. We had a case of State Bank of India branch audit. In LFR, we had made something, they have sent a notice. In LFR, you have changed the following things. So we replied, that is closed. But that doesn't mean I am not liable. He has been found guilty, then you can't do it. He has been convicted, you can't do it. That's a standard thing. Member in practice having at least practice experience. Or a member of employment who subsequently obtained certificate of practice having at least 10 years of experience in employment and at least 3 years audit experience in practice and is in full-time practice at the time of enrollment as PRP. So 10 years in the industry, 3 years in practice. That is where you pick up your essay. And industry, you know what is that.
Excuse me, sir. Someone who has been earlier
So they are not considering.
holding a COP,
They are not considering that. They are considering only past 10 years. They are only considering past 10 years. So you had COP for 5 years, then you went to industry for 20 years, then you came back to COP. They are not considering. They are only considering past 10 years. But fortunately with the peer review manual 2020, where it has become attractive is digital, plus for professionals we are investing time. There is a value for money. The fees paid is quite good in this we can get. After you do 3 or 4 peer reviews, if you do 4 peer reviews, 5th one, there are chances you may get MICO. MICO sort of audit. Something done by a KPMG and something done by a Deloitte. But you'll have to do at least 4 or 5. And if you do the 4 or 5, now I'm in that stage where I'm mostly getting this type of audits where the peer review fees is itself 5 lakhs. So those are things where professionally it is a little enriching. Otherwise it was there earlier, you used to get paid 2,000 back. Yeah, for this I have to stick my neck out, put my resources, put my employees. It doesn't work. So I'll skip all this quite simple ones. I'll just spend a little time on do's and don'ts. So the difference between financial FRRB, peer review and QRB, there are 3 boards. You can become a member of all the 3 and all 3 are very enriching experiences. QRB is extremely good. In fact, now I am facing a QRB where a QRB auditor is reviewing my work and I am doing QRB of one company in Bombay. So I am receiving and also giving times. So FRRB is something which the Financial Review Board will allot a case to. They will send you the audit files and it is mostly related to the financial statements. You can rely on public information, you can rely on public domain, BSc, ROC, everything you can relay. But you are only going to comment about the financial statements. This is a smaller job but faster job, you get it done in 1 week. And mostly listed companies are chosen. Institute picks up the file and gives it. You get 1 per year. You get 1 FRRB per year. Peer review, you can only do 1 per year because it takes time. You can apply for 2, but you generally get only 1 per year. And in Bangalore, not many listed company auditors are there. So most of the peer reviews we are getting is in Jaipur, Delhi, Bombay, Ahmedabad. Mostly that sector we get peer reviews and working papers are most in Jaipur. Working papers, they don't give a damn. They have done big audits, there are no working papers. In fact, one case I did, I think it would have gone to DC also because we can't report. The peer review board takes the Suyomoto thing to send it to DC. One case would have gone. I am very confident, but we won't know that. Then quality review board is not the peer review of the firm. The difference between peer review board and quality review board is peer review is a review of the full firm. Quality review is the review of that single file. You are not doing the full firm. Quality review board from the professional point of view is generally larger companies, listed companies, big companies where you have enough of huge things. How is the documentation done? Quality review board is really good. And the average fees of the quality review board is 1,25,000 to 2 lakhs and it takes approximately 15 days in and out to do it. You don't have to do it full time. Peer review is a little more complex than a quality review board because you are being training, you are seeing all those things. I'll speak on this. had 2 more slides. Unfortunately, it has missed this presentation. I have put one slide of do's and don'ts. The do's of peer review, you have to understand they are all practice units. You can't go as a Hitler. This is not okay, that is not okay. If I come to your office or you come to my office, there are 10 mistakes. There are mistakes. But that is where your challenge will come, whether it is a lapse or is it negligence. What is a lapse? What is a negligence? A lapse is, no, we don't take engagement letters. This engagement letter came by email. That's a lapse. I have not taken an engagement letter. I sent a mail to the client telling that last year fees was 1 lakh. This year I want to increase fees to 1,25,000. He said okay. That's a lapse. No, engagement letters not there. He's out of 100 cases, he doesn't provide engagement letters for 90 of them. We don't have a practice. That is a negligence. The lapse is, in this case, I did not do physical verification. That is a lapse. Negligence is, in the 20 cases I took, there are no stock verification papers. You can't take a judgment call on all 20 cases that I don't want to do stock verification. Something must be wrong with the process. So you have to identify the difference between what is a lapse and what is negligence. And we are after negligence, we are not after lapse. Point 2, don't go judging the balance sheet. That is his call. Some cases I found he should have 100% given a qualification. What's wrong with him? It's a stupid thing it is, why can't he give a qualification? He took a call. That is his risk. So don't go behind the balance, you don't go on the qualification of the balance sheets, go on the process. That is where you look at peer review. Before I sum up, see, Institute is slowly losing a lot of its shine. If you look at the disciplinary committee, SFIO has come in, the other bodies have come in. And that primarily has happened because the earlier processes by professionals was not followed. Right now, the Institute has got limitations of QRB, FRRB and peer review. If at all this is not done properly by this team sitting here, peer review will go and the government will put something else. And it is only for us to blame. My friend, let me manage this. See, we already faced in GST audits. We didn't do GST audits properly, that went. This year budget, tax audits may go. Bank audits we didn't do properly, bank audits went. So it is always that it is not erring from the institute side or the government side, we are also erring. And peer review is in a very delicate phase. 2020 the manual has come. Before 2020, my assessment there were not more than 400 peer reviews in a year. Only in the year 2020, 21, 22, there have been in excess of 2,500 reviews. It's gone 10 times higher. That means 2,500 practicing firms have taken up the review. Out of that, not even 10% is voluntary review. We do a voluntary review every year. I just go and apply for review. Anything is there, catch it and throw it in. So we do a voluntary review. 10% only is voluntary review. 90% is picked up to SEBI website. And again, UDIN is a game changer. Every case of peer review I have come across has come to UDIN where errors are there in UDIN. UDIN is, now they have a data analytics tool which pulls out the entire UDIN. It is finding out what time unit was generated, which IP unit was generated, where the unit was generated in Calcutta, but I am sitting down, my office practice is in Bangalore. It was generated, in those cases it is taken. So it is giving, it has not yet been announced, but in the back end, UDIN is a huge game changer. So in case your UDIN is in trouble, you don't get peer reviews. So make sure, if for peer reviews, you have to ensure that never date the UDIN more than 2 days. Never date. In fact, first time when I used it, I didn't get it. What is happening? So you have signed 300 audits in your firm, 30 cases are UDIN signed after 25 days. But so what? It's a lack of governance. The institute allows me to do it. What's your problem? It's a lack of governance. It is right from law but not from the values. I didn't get peer review that. Next year, it was fabulous. Next year, it was very, very fabulous. Good morning, Pala sir. So any doubts? I have another 1-2 minutes. Any doubts? Any practical questions? But please don't allow, for heaven's sake, to insert any papers. What I been doing in many peer reviews, I number the pages. They give me the audit file, I'm sitting down and putting the numbers in pencil. If I put in the numbers in pencil, if I inserted any paper, I automatically do. I'm sitting down and numbering the page. See, our job is an educator's job. We are not policemen. We have to educate, but at the same time, we can't be negligent. The institute is depending on us for the profession. So we can't be negligent. We have to be extremely above board, push it hard, keep your friendships aside, and push it very hard. And at the same time, when you get peer review, we know the pain. In fact, I had a peer reviewer, he is telling there is no audit tick. But sir, there is no audit tick because everything is digital. I use an audit tool. So how is the tick? Is there is an email which he signs, there is a OTP he gets. How do I verify? But there are no working papers. It became very embarrassing for me. Then I had to write to the board, this is what is happening, he is not understanding. Please help. Then the board changed the behavior. So it is both ways. Okay. Thank you for the patient hearing. You extended my thing by at least 5-10 minutes. Sorry for that. And there was a confusion at the start date. The mail I got was at 10. So I reached at 9:45. But sorry. You can write on my mail ID guru@gurujana.com. guru@gurujana.com. Contact number generally I don't use at all, sir. I keep it aside. Mobile phones is curse in life. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Guru sir, for your time and efforts. And of course, we did hear during the morning before we came in how much effort was gone into the PPT as well, and the dedication which you put to the institute. Thank you once again, sir. As I request our Bangalore Chairman to hand over the memento to our speaker as a mark of gratitude and respect.